Branden here. Time for more Branden's Boy Problems. So, I was trying not to be so quick to cut people off in 2025, but I was Scorpio. It's what I do. Like, you do me wrong, you waste my time, you flake on me, you're cut off. Like, you're dead to me, you're done. Like, we're adults, you should know how to communicate, you should know how to cancel, you should know how to not make plans with me just to flake on them last minute. Like, I don't have time for that. So I would just cut people off because I'm like, who are you playing with? Like, you are not wasting my time like that. Like, and then it's also like, why am I not cutting you off? Because it's like, why am I giving you more opportunities to waste my time potentially in the future? Like, you knew what you were doing when you chose to cancel on me, when you chose to flake on me, so you deserve to be cut off. But, like, part of me is like, okay, I don't want to just cut everyone off after one infraction, but I'm also just kind of like, fuck you. It's my Scorpio sun, Sag moon, Gemini rising. I'm just very like, chop, chop. So I was seeing this guy. He was like a single dad, even though like, I feel like it kind of was easy for me to cut him off because I'm like, I already don't want to be on with kids anyway. And the fact that you keep flaking on me, I'm just very much like, why am I letting you waste my time? Like, I don't want to be on with kids. Well, he has one kid, but I'm still like, I don't want to be on that as a kid. Like, I want to be number one priority in your life. I would be evil, wicked stepmother. Like, I don't have time for a man constantly flaking. And it's the thing though, is like, he flaked on me constantly, but like, it never was about the kid. Cause he'd leave the kid like with his friends, like his grandparents and like back in Texas, and he'd come up to New York. But then he'd flake on me constantly to see his friends. I'm just kind of like, that was even worse to me. It's like, I expected a man with a kid to be like, oh, he's gonna constantly flake on me because he's like his kid. But like, I feel like that's at least understandable. But if you're constantly flaking on me on our dates to like go do shit with your friends, like, no, like, fuck you, you're dead to me. And then he like tried to go off of me when I cut him off because I just like blocked you. Like, I blocked him once because I was like, I came to Dallas, he was in town, and then he lives in Dallas, and then he didn't make any effort to see me that weekend that I was there. And I told him when I was coming, I told him my work hours. I'm like, okay, so when are we gonna see each other? And like, he was out on like a Saturday night, and like, I was home at my hotel, and then he had plans, and we were texting, but then like, again, I just fell asleep because again, I had no plans, I had nothing to do. And then he tried to say like the next day, like, oh, he was gonna hope that he could come see me afterwards. But I'm like, you never told me you were gonna come see me. You never told me like, I'm gonna stay out at this housewarming until this time, and then I'm gonna come see you, because then I would have stayed up. I would have arranged to see you. Like, I wanted to see him. But again, I don't have time for that bullshit being like, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like, again, if you had intentions to come see me after your plans, then you should have told me that from the beginning. So then that way we could have planned ahead together, but you didn't do that. So I don't care if you had the intention to possibly come see me after what you were doing when you didn't make that clear from the beginning. So I don't think I'm being irrational about that. Like, I'm very much like, again, communicate. We're adults. Like, if you want to come see me, tell me so we can plan together. It's like, don't just say like, oh, I was gonna try. Like, that's not good enough. Like, again, we're adults. So then that was the time I last came to Dallas. I didn't see him. The previous time I left to go to Dallas, and he left to come to New York City, but we did have a brief time to see each other, but it was a very brief encounter because then he had to go hang out with his friends. And then he tried to say like I was late, but I was kind of like, again, I didn't know we were only gonna have like an hour or so together. I got ready, prepared, even douched in case we were gonna fuck later. Like, so I was preparing to spend hours together. He didn't tell me like, oh yeah, I only have like an hour to spend with you. So like, that's another thing, not communicating. It's like, you're older than me. Like, you're a father. How do you not know how to communicate plans? And the first time we didn't meet up, he was in New York. So like, okay, this went completely out of order. So first, he lives in Dallas, I'm in New York. He came to New York because he claims to move to New York and he has friends here. So he came for the weekend. He and I were like supposed to meet up on a Friday night. Then Friday comes around, he's like, oh, I'm going out with my friends. I'm just like, you literally told me Friday we're supposed to go out together. So I was ready to cut him off that first time, but then I knew like I had a work trip coming up to Dallas for an entire month. So I felt like, okay, I'm not gonna cut him off because I'm coming to the city for an entire month. So if he has multiple opportunities then to make up for this, show me around, go on dates, and like he did, like we went out twice in a month, which really isn't that much because, yeah. But it's still, we had great dates, great time, it was great. Then he comes up to New York, but then I went on a work trip to Dallas, so that's when we saw each other briefly. because he didn't communicate. He only had a few hours to see me, and then I thought we were gonna have more time together, so I was a little late and tried to change the time, but he was already on his way. So then that like messed things up, and we had like an hour to sit together. And then the next time I'm in Dallas again for work, he's in Dallas, and then he doesn't see me because he had plans and then claimed he was gonna come see me, but he never told me that. So that was like bullshit. I was ready to come off for that. I'm like, I came to your city, I told you my work hours, I told you when I was gonna be free. We had plenty of time to plan a date or something. You didn't, so I was done with you. So then he comes to like apologizes. He apologizes to me. I accept the apology because he says he's coming back to New York. So okay, that gives us another chance to see each other, even though I already was like thin ice with me. So then this next time he says, let's hang out Sunday. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'm free Sunday. And then Sunday comes around, I was like, oh, my friends changed the plan, so we're actually leaving to go away for like my birthday or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, first of all, I texted him the day prior to see like, okay, what are we gonna do Sunday? And then he doesn't respond. I text him at like 5:30 p.m., like 5:40 p.m. He doesn't respond until almost 1 a.m. So that already was like a big red flag where I'm like, okay, I'm already cutting you off. Like, this is bullshit. Like, I know you're gonna flake and do some bullshit tomorrow, so I'm just kind of like, I didn't even bother responding until the next day. And then, of course, he flakes. So then I was over it. Like, I'm just like, this is the third time he flakes on me. We had set plans. We had set times. You chose to flake on me. You're done. And then I cut him off. And then he sent me this long message saying how, like, I never paid for any of the dates and that. And I'm like, girl, of course not. Like, you're the top. What are you here for? Why would I pay? And then he was just saying that, like, I don't reach out as much as he does. And then I'm also like, again, we don't live in the same city, but I make sure to reach out when we are going to be in the same city and we are going to see each other. So again, if I get coming to your city, tell you in advance I'm coming to your city, tell you all the times I'm free, and then you put no effort to see me, and then when we do talk and arrange to have a date, you flake on me multiple times. Like, this has happened 3 times now. Like, you are done. And that's just the funny thing. It's like, I was so anti-men with kids. They kind of feel like they're not going to be reliable. The kid's always going to come first. I'm going to get flaked on. And then he just flaked on me for his friends all the time. So then I'm just like, done. Like, again, we don't live in the same city. He says he's trying to move to like New Jersey, whatever. But I'm just kind of like, whatever, I don't care. Like, you had your chance with me. It's over. I already don't know me with kids. Like, it just wasn't meant to be. Then I hook up with this guy in Philly on a work trip. Even though I just ended my like dating app break. I was kind of celibate for like the first half of the month of January because I just needed a break from guys. My body count was super high in 2024 from all my bathhouse visits that I've been trying to like cut back, slow down, etc. So I hooked up with him. He was exactly my type. So I kind of felt like I waited for a guy that came in the picture. Like, I wasn't just hooking up because I was bored. Like, this was actually somebody like I was having good chemistry with. We were talking. He was exactly my type. Like, I was like, maybe I'm gonna hook up with guys that like I would consider dating because I'm like that attracted to you. It's like the sex was great. We had great like laughing together, getting to know each other. I was really into him. I wanted to see him again, and we had plans to see each other his last night, like 2 days after we first hooked up, because like we both were there for work trips, so like we had stuff going on. And then he flakes on me. He says he's gonna get back to you. He tells me like he goes out with his coworker. He's gonna tell me when he's free. I see he's online. I ask him like, okay, so it's getting late, like what's happening? And then he doesn't respond, and he read my message. And then he responds like the next morning saying like, I'm sorry, I apologize. And I'm like, bro, you are too old for that. Like, I do not accept, I'm sorry. You knew what you were doing. You literally could have just said like, hey, it's getting late. I'm probably not gonna be able to make it. Like, all you had to do was say that. Like, but you chose to just read my message, leave me on red, ignore me until the next morning. Like, fuck you too. And like, I blocked him, but then he deleted his profile anyway because he already told me like he only really uses dating apps when he travels, which is kind of suspicious to me because I'm like, so are you in a relationship? Do you have a man back in Dallas? Though he swore he was single. He swore I was the first person he hooked up with this year because I told him he was the first guy I hooked up with in 2025 too. So like, that's just shady to me. Like, I don't believe, even though I hate dating apps in my own city and they're useless to me, so I'm kind of like, well, maybe that's why he says he only gets on them when he travels. But then I'm also just kind of like, that's still kind of shady to me. Like, are you in a relationship back home and that's why you only get on dating apps when you travel? But he still had his face on his profile and everything. So I don't know. But yeah, I cut him off too. But like, I really liked him and like, I wanted to see him again. I thought we had a great vibe, great chemistry, great sex. Like, he even checked in on me the day after, and then we were talking again, and he said he wanted to see me again. And then his actions showed otherwise. So I'm just like, I don't have time for this. And now it's like, I feel like the reasons I cut people off are justified. Like, you waste my time, you flake on me, you choose to not communicate instead of just communicating, which is so easy just to say, send a text like, hey, I can't make it anymore. Hey, something else came up. Like, just tell me that in advance. Or also, well, then again, if you make plans with me and then you cancel at the last minute, I'm still gonna cut you off anyway. So it doesn't really make a difference. But I'm just still would respect you more, like, if you did it. Well, I guess I wouldn't cut you off just for like the first time, maybe. Depends how far in advance. But yeah, I don't play that. And again, it's like, we're adults. Like, I'm meeting with guys in their 30s. Like, why do you not know how to text back? Why do you not know how to say like, hey, something came up. Hey, I'm going to run late with my coworkers. I probably can't make it tonight. Literally just tell me that. But choosing to just leave me on red and not respond, like, yeah, you're dead to me. So I wanted to be not as quick to cut people off, but now I'm just like, fuck all of you.